Hello, my name is Emma Schermer Tamir, and today I'm going to be speaking with you about how to differentiate to dominate over the competition. And specifically, we're going to be looking at how you can utilize your Amazon listing to set yourself apart so that you make it the easy choice for customers to pick you over everybody else. So as I mentioned, my name is Emma Schermer Tamir. I am the co-founder and CEO of Marketing by Emma. This is my husband and business partner, Aris. We started Marketing by Emma in 2016, and we specialize in crafting Amazon listings, website copy, and any other copy that an e-commerce business needs in order to be able to connect with and convert their dream customers. So let's just take a moment, take a step back and put ourselves in the shoes of your customers for a moment. This is something that we don't do enough as business owners, and it's essential if we are really looking to be able to build those meaningful relationships, to make it easy for customers to choose you, and to understand the experience that a customer goes through from the time that they enter into Amazon, whatever search terms they have, and begin their journey to try to find a product that matches their query. So let's say that you're looking for popcorn poppers, and you go to Amazon and you search microwavable popcorn poppers into the search bar, and you're going to get a page full of results like this. So you're going to get a page full of popcorn poppers in different colors, but more or less the majority of them are going to look exactly like this. And it's not just popcorn poppers. For pretty much any product that you can think of, when you put your search query into the search bar and you look at the results, it's going to be pages and pages full of products that look the same, that have very similar listings. And so already it puts the customer into a somewhat stressful position. So the pictures look fairly similar. We see all three of these have quite a few reviews. Two have significantly more than the third, but they all have a lot. And their prices are more or less within the same range. So what am I supposed to do as a customer if I'm looking at these products, if the listings themselves look nearly identical, if the information is more or less the same? I can choose the one that has the most reviews. That would be the blue one on the left-hand side. I could go for the one that's the cheapest. That's going to be the red one in the middle, or maybe purple is my favorite color. And I like the way that the popcorn is sort of domed coming out of that popcorn popper. And so I'll go with the one on the right. But all of those choices aren't necessarily based on anything substantial or defensible. Those are sort of arbitrary details that I'm forced to rely upon as a customer in order to make a decision and not drive myself absolutely crazy. So which one do you choose? Copying forces your customers to choose based on price, on reviews, on superficial differences, or let's not forget that you may actually push a customer into analysis paralysis and they just don't choose anything at all. And why am I saying copying? Because what happens all too often is that people will look at the top competitors in any category and they'll just sort of modify what those top competitors are doing and create a listing that's not necessarily directly copying, but is so similar that it makes it very, very difficult for the customer to be able to tell it apart. And if you're entering the reusable, microwavable popcorn popper space, like this one that we're looking at right now, and you're launching a brand new product, you don't necessarily have the same level of momentum. You definitely aren't going to have that volume of reviews. And so if you're just copying them, then why would a customer choose your product that has 0 or just a few reviews versus a product that has that longevity, that has lots of social proof, and maybe they've even seen recommendations on other places? So you need to be more strategic to think about what can you do rather than to just blend in and dilute yourself to stand out. And the same is true for even if you're an established business. And in this case, perhaps you were the leader in your category, but it's been some time, the competition's gotten a lot fiercer. And so now you're in a position that you need to defend your turf. Well, if you're just going to continue doing what you're doing because you were the one that people were copying, then you're still putting yourself into that same problematic position. Whereas if you really think from a point of differentiation, get clear about who you are as a brand and the customers that you want to serve, then you're able to give something to people that's more substantive to be able to make a decision. So copying also forces you into a constant fight. It's probably going to lead to lower profit margins, expensive launch and rank campaigns, aggressive and costly PPC and marketing strategies, a never-ending fight to defend your turf. And there's really nothing keeping somebody else from entering the game and fighting harder, being more aggressive, and from unseating you. So none of those positions, none of those strategies of, copying the top competitors are going to put you in a position that you're able to really grow long term. It's going to be a very volatile space for you to be operating in. So let's look at an example of why you wouldn't want to be copying somebody in the top position. This is a product called the Pink Stuff. It is a cleaning paste. And what's interesting about this product is that it ranks pretty highly for some keywords on Amazon. However, if you look into it, what you'll actually find is that the reason that this is so successful on Amazon is because it went viral on TikTok. So it is an internet famous product, okay? If you search multi-purpose cleaner on Amazon, it's not going to be one of the first results. At least it wasn't when I put this presentation together. But you see here that if we look at the search trends in early spring 2020, it had a huge spike in searches, which correlates to the beginning of the pandemic and when this product went viral. So let's say that you're launching a new cleaning paste, and you're looking at this as the product to beat. So you look at their listing and you see, oh my gosh, they have 35,000 reviews, 4.5 stars. They are selling really well. They're Amazon's choice in all-purpose household cleaners. So they're doing a lot of things pretty well. So if you're looking at this, you may get the false impression that pictures don't really matter and that your listing doesn't really matter. But what you wouldn't know without doing some extra research is that the only reason that they have garnered this much success is because of traffic that is being driven from off of Amazon. And so not only are they not putting themselves in a position to be able to really sustain this growth that they've achieved long-term once they're no longer a viral fad, but they're also missing out on the opportunity to be able to get in front of people that don't necessarily use TikTok, that may not be aware of the latest viral products, but would still be interested in an item like this. So let's just look at the listing and see what's missing from it. First of all, their title is rather vague. It does say it's the Miracle All-Purpose Cleaning Paste, but it's not clear what kind of situations that this is good for cleaning. The container says it's tough on stains. Does this mean that it's tough on stains for kitchen materials, like if you have marble that stains easily or stainless steel? Is it referring to this? You can actually use this on fabric, like on clothing or upholstered furniture. What exactly is this meant to be used for? The title is not giving it to us, and the bullets certainly aren't. We only have 3 bullets here. They're very vague. They're not providing much of anything. For example, the package dimensions are not particularly relevant to understanding this product. Something really interesting that I also discovered when I was searching for this product on Google is that one of the top queries for the Pink Stuff is the Pink Stuff ingredients. In fact, it's one of the autocomplete options that Google provides. So this means that a lot of people would like to know what this product is made of. And that makes complete sense. This is a cleaning product. So if you have a household with animals or small children, that's definitely going to be something that you may want to know. However, you could also be somebody that's really that's committed to sustainability. And so you want to make sure that the ingredients are non-toxic, or maybe you even have a sensitivity to a particular ingredient that's commonly used in cleaning products. And so you want to be able to know whether that is found there, so you won't have a negative reaction if you use it in your household. So that's not necessarily a huge benefit, but it's really important for people to be able to find easily and understand. And that's not on this listing. It's also not very available anywhere, which is really a missed opportunity for them, because I would imagine if they made that a bit easier to find, then customers would be reassured in knowing that this product is a good fit for them. Or if they have some ingredients that people don't necessarily want to bring into their households, they would also minimize the rate of returns that they're experiencing from people that bought it without understanding that it had a questionable ingredient in it. So on the most basic level, we don't understand this product at all, neither from the title nor the bullets. So we don't know the kinds of things that it can be used to clean. We don't know what the ingredients are. We don't know if this is safe for households with pets or young children. So lots of questions here. But beyond that, we also don't have anything telling us why this is the miracle paste. Like, what makes this stuff so special? Why did it go viral? If it was a sensation on TikTok, then that means that it probably has some sort of wow effect that it delivers, or is able to cut through really tough or impossible to clean problems. And so being able to really highlight that in the listing would make this really attractive, not only to people that found it on TikTok, but also people that are just searching for a great cleaner on Amazon. So there's a lot of missed opportunity here, both in the short term and definitely in the long term as well. And we see that the product description here really doesn't give us much more. So what it does is it begins to tell us some of the types of items that it can be used on. However, there are even some issues with how they've chosen to present this information. If you look at the list, ideal for cleaning saucepans, barbecues, ceramic tiles, glass, rust, sinks. So it kind of has this hybrid list where some of the items in here are materials and some of the items in here are products. So I would almost think that two lists would be better. Maybe one that would have a list of common products that you can use it on, and a second list that talks about the types of materials that you can use it on. Because, for example, if they're talking about using it on saucepans, my assumption would be is that this is safe for stainless steel, which is also a material that's commonly used for appliances in the kitchen, for example. However, it doesn't directly state that. So I'm left with question marks and either making an assumption that's wrong or not buying this because I'm not certain that it meets my buying criteria. So is this really a listing that you would want to copy? Or is this maybe one of those things that looking at it on Amazon, you think, wow, they're doing fantastically. What you write doesn't matter. And in fact, even they are doing themselves a disservice by not optimizing it more fully. So let's take a step back now for a moment and just talk about some copy fundamentals. Obviously, the pink stuff is really not doing any of these things. So that's almost like a blank slate. So what do you need to consider as you're putting an Amazon listing together? First and foremost, you need a thoughtful, well-researched keyword strategy. This is something that's more than just plugging in to whatever tool you're using and taking the top search results based on search volume, but looking at the results and critically analyzing them to identify what words are highly relevant to your product, and also what words you can be competitive on, because the very highly searched terms may be incredibly expensive to be able to rank on, especially at first. However, it's not just that. The broader the term, the more general it is, and you may actually be going after words that aren't necessarily associated with high buying intent for the type of product that you're selling. So you want to have a thoughtful keyword strategy. However, your keywords should really form the skeleton of your listing. And I really mean that metaphor when I say skeleton, which is that it's essential for a fully functioning, healthy listing. However, it shouldn't be visible to the customer. So you have a strong keyword list, and then you look at finding the keywords that are going to be able to fit naturally into your copy so that they read smoothly and they don't distract the customer or appear off-putting as they're looking at your listing. You also want to make your listing really organized and set it up for maximum skimmability. So it's not that every single person is going to fully read your listing from top to bottom, but first and foremost, they need to be able to find the critical pieces of information that they need to know in order to feel confident that your product is a good match for them. So in the case of technology, that might have to do with compatibility. If it's a kitchen appliance, then perhaps it's the material that it's made of, or even the size, so that they can gauge whether it's going to be able to fit onto their countertop or into their cabinets. So all of those little details, while they may not be huge selling points, there are oftentimes those need to know pieces of information that customers want to be able to find quickly and easily before diving further into learning more about your product, into reading the reviews, and into being able to say, yes, this is the product that I want to buy. That means you have to make every word count. So you shouldn't just be maximizing every single character limit that you're given. You want to make sure that a word is either helping to push your SEO strategy forward or helping to push the sale forward. If it's not doing either of those two things, then it's highly likely that it doesn't belong in your listing. Perhaps it's better suited in your website or in an insert or something like that. Being very benefit forward, so thinking about what are those deeper emotional drivers behind why someone would want to buy your product. And I'll go into that a little bit later and show you exactly what I mean by that. Building trust is essential to any relationship. However, it can be really challenging to do online. So there are a few things that you can do at the very least to not destroy trust. So first is having a strong attention to detail. Make sure that you spell and grammar check everything that you put up. Make sure that you have really high quality images. However, another thing that you can do to build trust is to accurately describe your product. So rather just saying that your product is the best and most innovative, being really thoughtful and considering, are there certain people that shouldn't use this product? Are there areas where it may not be as strong as others? All of those things will help you make sure that you're making the right kind of sale instead of just doing whatever it takes to make a sale, but then only having that lead to an unhappy customer experience, creating an opening for a negative review and returns, and a lot of hassle and lost money on your end. Being very customer centric. So really making sure that everything that you put on your page is geared towards the customer and what they care about. And thinking about what kind of mental space are they in when they're looking for this product? What problem are they hoping to solve? How are they imagining that this product can improve the quality of their lives? So all of these details, it's so essential that you are aware of and that you keep front and center in your mind as you're putting together not only your listing, but really anything for your product, whether it's the packaging or your social media or anything like that. And then like I mentioned at the very beginning, thinking about differentiation and having really bold branding. So it's not just about how can you be like everybody else, but what can you do to really stand apart from the crowd and give something to people that they can connect with you on that's more than just a superficial detail like the color or the reviews or something like that. And then lastly, elevate with imagery. So one of the most underutilized pieces of Amazon real estate that I've seen are your product images. Aside from your main image, you can edit text into your images. And what this allows you to do is to turn your photos from maybe, you could even have fantastic lifestyle images. However, if you don't have text in them, then you're giving people a photo and you're leaving it up to the customers to interpret what you want them to see. And what one person sees is going to be completely different from what another person understands from that image. And so when you add text there, you're able to really control the message, but you can also reinforce key benefits, communicate about certain details around your products that may be hard to understand in text alone, and also to present even just some of those basic product features that will help people more fully understand your product. So be bold. What do I mean by this? Let's take a look at an example to get a better sense of what I'm talking about. So we have two examples here. On the left, we have Melita. They are a coffee company that has been around for over 100 years. They are located in many retailers. They actually innovated the coffee filter. And on the right, we have Black Rifle Coffee Company. Black Rifle has only been around for a few years. They're an e-commerce first company, and they are totally dominating not only Melita, but many of the top players in the coffee category on Amazon. Now, these two listings that we're looking at today are both high caffeine coffee. So this is not just any old coffee blend. This is a coffee that's meant to really put that extra pep in your step, to wake you up. You would expect these to be kind of a high intensity tone to match what people are looking for when they are shopping for a product like this. Now, if we look at the listings, the first thing that my eye always goes to is the prices here are hugely different. So Melita is selling their coffee for 61 cents an ounce, whereas Black Rifle is selling their coffee for $1.42 an ounce. So more than double than what Melita is selling for. And yes, Black Rifle Coffee Company is smaller. However, a lot of the reason why they're able to command that higher price tag is because they've really leaned into their branding. They're clear about who they are. They understand their customers. And so through that, they can charge a more premium price. So, and by the way, while I'm going to be praising Black Rifle Coffee Company, they are far from perfect. There are many things in their listing that I would recommend that they adjust and that they would probably perform better. For one, their bullets are way too long, not to mention the fact that they're using all caps headers for their titles and emojis, both of which are against Amazon's TOS. So they're not doing things perfectly, but they do have a very strong sense of who they are. And that has really, in my eyes, led to the success that they are experiencing today. So Melita, their bullets, they're shorter, they're more compact, but they are bland, they are corporate, they are generic. There's nothing here that's really unique or grabs you or even reflects that high caffeine energy that you would expect to see with a product like this. Black Rifle Coffee Company is a veteran-owned business. And this isn't just a little detail that they include at the end of their listing. This is something that they put front and center throughout everything. So it's reflected in the name of their company. It's reflected in how they name their products. But also, if you look at, we have the second bullet here, proudly American and owned by veterans. And not only that, they then continue that they're talking about their members of the world's finest military, proudly support veterans, service members, first responders, law enforcement. So they are boldly putting themselves on the side of organizations that are not necessarily supported by every single person. These are divisive topics, and there are some people that would not be thrilled to be buying their coffee from a company that aligns themselves with these organizations. And so that might sound a little bit scary, right? To say, oh, they're coming out here, they're making these statements and they're actually turning customers away. Why on earth would you want to do that as a business? However, they are doing that very strategically, because while at the same time they're turning some people away, those same details are also really exciting and creating a point of connection with others that are going to be very eager to be able to buy their coffee from a company that shares the same values as them. So in some ways, what they've done is they've essentially created their own product category of a veteran-owned coffee company. So they're not even competing head to head with Melita anymore, because they've said, if this is something that's really important with you, you have these values also, come join us. And so they're also able to invest in maybe even paying more to get that first sale, because they're investing in the long run. They're investing in creating long-term customers that are going to be repeat purchasers of this coffee. They're going to make this coffee the coffee for their household. They're going to tell their friends and family about it. So they are playing the long game, but it is also having huge positive impacts in the short term as well. So Melita Coffee Company, they are, let's look at this A+ content here. Kind of like the bullets, so fairly generic and corporate. We could easily, put Folgers or Maxwell House logo and name throughout this, and we wouldn't really think much of it. So there's nothing here that's uniquely Melita or that's giving us something to grab onto and understand why this should be the coffee that we choose, not just for this particular purchase, but again, for the long run, for the coffee that's going to be our go-to coffee. Black Rifle Coffee Company, we look at their A+ content, there's actually very little here that's talking about the coffee itself. They're talking all about the brand. So we have a picture of the team, a message from the founder, our mission statement, our culture, our brand. Yes, they talk about the coffee as well. However, they are really focusing on establishing a relationship with their customers. And you see they're even wearing merchandise in all of these photos. So it's much more than just a coffee company. Coffee just happens to be the way that they're connecting with people. That point of commonality is actually much deeper, and it's about something beyond just coffee. So who is your brand in order to be able to do what Black Rifle's doing? And by the way, coffee is a relatively straightforward product. So you don't necessarily need a lot of space dedicated to explaining how it works or what it works with or anything like that. So this brand heavy type of approach with the A+ content won't necessarily work well for every single company. However, you can still take inspiration from this idea. And even if you don't have your whole A+ or the majority of your A+ dedicated to those things, you can still be really thoughtful about how can I weave in elements of story, who we are, what our values are, that personal touch that will give that point of connection and that opportunity to forge a deeper relationship with your customers. But in order to be able to do that, you need to understand who your brand is. And when it comes to selling on Amazon, or really anywhere, but especially on Amazon, where you are competing head to head with so many competitors, your brand may actually be your only differentiator that you have. You may not have huge product design differences. So in the case of this coffee, the coffee itself isn't all that different. It really is the brand that is setting Melita and Black Rifle apart. So what message are you sending to the world? What message are you sending to your customers, to your partners, to your team? All of those things are working to tell a story of who you are as a business. And it's up to you whether that story is going to be told without thought and intentionality, or if you're going to make sure that they're all working together to tell a story that you want to tell in a way that's representing your business in the way that you want it to be represented. So what makes you different? Who are you as a business? And one exercise that you can do to do this, because it can be a little bit difficult to put tangible words to some of these ideas, is an exercise where you create a brand persona. So thinking about, if my brand was a person, what kind of clothes would my brand wear? What types of shows would it watch on TV? What would be its favorite activities? What influencers would it follow? And this might seem sort of silly, but all of those details fill in the gaps that might be harder to put a finger on. And not only will they bring more clarity to you, but they will also help you align the rest of your team to make sure that everybody's on the same page. So that when you hire a designer or a photographer or a copywriter, or even just customer service people, you can communicate these things and they understand exactly what you mean. Otherwise, what are you left with? Maybe a few words that could be interpreted in many different ways. If you say, my brand is funny, lighthearted, but professional, I could think of right off the top of my head a variety of different iterations of ways of presenting that brand that would align with those 3 words. So all of them would technically be right, but only one of those would be how you are imagining your brand. And then thinking about how you can be consistent and cohesive. So making sure that whether people are engaging with you on your Amazon listing, on your website, on social media, with your customer service, that at all of those points, they're getting the same message, they're having the same experience, and that you are representing your brand in the same consistent way. And then thinking about why should people choose you? So in the case of Black Rifle Coffee Company, they're saying because you care about the same socio-political ideologies that we do. How is that related to coffee? It's really not. Like I said, coffee just happens to be the conduit that they're able to do this through. But having those points of choice are so important so that you're not just another one of page upon page of search results, but you are something definitive that helps people that are meant to be your customers choose you. So benefits, I told you that we would go back to this idea. What does it mean by benefits? Because we've spoken about getting to understand your brand, what it looks like to really put together a well-optimized listing, and what you need to be doing in order to do that effectively, why you shouldn't just be taking the top listings in a particular category and directly copying them. But now let's go the extra mile. So think about what you can do, not just to differentiate your brand, but then to create that connection with your customers around things that also relate to the product itself. Sped ahead too much there. So we have 2 products side by side. These are both functionally very similar products. So we have an Intex baby pool and a Splash Easy sort of splash pad wading pool. So it serves the purpose of a kiddie pool, but it is not exactly the same as a kiddie pool for 2 fundamental reasons. So one is rather than having a pool that you fill up, you connect it to a hose. And so then it has little sprinklers, which means that it doesn't have water that's collecting in the container itself. So it's less risky for young children, but it also has a printed design on the bottom, which has different themes that are meant to stimulate and encourage childhood learning and development. So similar to Black Rifle Coffee Company, Splash Easy, with a few product modifications, has kind of altered and created their own product category within the larger category of kiddie pools. So functionally, it's still meant to be a fun outdoor activity to help children cool off during the summer months. But with these added bonuses, they've gained a clearer perspective on who their customers are and some key benefits that they can then flesh out in their listing that makes it more than just an average kiddie pool. So Splash Easy is actually a brand that we helped launch a couple of years ago, and they've been phenomenally successful despite the fact that they had no brand recognition prior to launching, whereas Intex is a brand that is very well known. You can find them in Walmart and places like that. So this really speaks to how impactful a well-run marketing strategy can be, not only in making sure that you are sending the right kind of traffic, but then maximizing your conversions of that traffic. And if we look here at the A+ content of Intex, it's really just very feature forward. There's not a lot here. It doesn't even give us all of the information that we would need to know. So it says soft inflatable floor, but it doesn't tell us what the materials are. It's also inflatable, but it doesn't say whether it comes with a pump to inflate it or if you need to provide that separately. It also just has some weird language. So through and through, this listing is not at all what it could or should be. Whereas with Splash Easy, you see that because the product is relatively straightforward, they don't need to dedicate a lot of time to explaining how it functions. And instead, they're really able to speak to the experience that parents and children can enjoy when playing with this toy. So it is speaking to not just the short term of what what it's going to be like when you use this today, but also this bigger idea, this bigger benefit that is really associated with any product that's helping with childhood development, which is helping set up a brighter future for their children. And so while this product is on its surface doesn't really seem like that at all, with really strategic marketing and thought, they're able to connect with some of those deeper emotional drivers that parents care about when they're choosing products for their children. So build excitement to buy. In order to be able to do this, we need to go back to where we started, which is be really clear about your customers. So not just understanding what their experience is like when they're going onto Amazon to search for a product like yours, but before they even get there, who are your customers? So we figured out who your brand is. It's just important to understand who your customers are. And I'm not just talking about demographic data like age or gender. I'm talking about those same kind of quirky questions that I was asking you about your brand, about your customers. So what influencers do your customers follow? What types of topics are they interested in beyond just this product? What are their worries? What are the things that keep them up late at night? All of those details will allow you to form a clearer picture of who your customers are, so that when you sit down to the computer to write your listing or to put together a social media campaign or whatever it may be, you're not just writing to a blank screen. You're able to picture your customer and write directly to them. So that will not only make the process less intimidating, but it will also foster much stronger outcomes. So then you know who your customers are. Now you have to think about what's going to make them excited. So how can you position your product and the product's features in a way that will connect with them on a deeper level, that will connect with those reasons that somebody is going to Amazon to shop for a product like this in the first place? And to do that, you take a feature of your product, and then you keep asking why until you get to that emotional reason behind why somebody would care about that particular design feature. And then it's not to ignore the feature. It's not that I'm saying not to include it, but you state the benefit and then you use the feature to support your claims. I would be very happy to give a free listing analysis to all of you that have joined this online virtual summit. I know that what I've spoken about can be a lot. Maybe you've done all of these things and now you want to know if you did it well, or you're feeling overwhelmed and you're not sure where to start. If you use this QR code, you can scan it with your camera on your phone, or you can go to marketingbyemma.com/resonate and claim your free analysis there. But what I really want to leave you with is thinking about how you can foster a conversation and a relationship with your customers. And so any relationship has two sides. It has one person that's initiating the conversation, and then the other person that's receiving that conversation. And so if you can gain greater clarity about who you are as a brand and what makes you unique, and then have a strong sense of who you're selling to, then you can foster a more meaningful relationship, whether it be through your Amazon listing or any other piece of marketing that you're doing. And through that, hopefully the goal is to not just be this product that when somebody asks a customer where they got it, they say, oh, I don't know, I just got it on Amazon. But actually, this is a product by this brand and I love it so much, and here's why, and this is why you need it. And that is possible, but it takes intentional thought and strategy in order to achieve that. So please feel free to reach out. You can email us, call us, find us on Facebook. We're happy to answer any questions that you might have. And I wish you so much success through the rest of this year and in the next year ahead. Bye.